Zero, glad to see you're back with us. And today we should have an interesting day in the markets, right? We're wondering if the markets are going to turn around or if they're going to continue going down. And me love you long time says good morning to you also. So we have an interesting day ahead of us. It's the last day of the week. We're going to see if we end it in a good way or a bad way. It looks like Sundial's already trending up, so that's good to see. In the pre-market, we're moving up. We're going to be fighting with 60 cents, it looks like, today. That's where Sundial's sitting. And CFVI is an interesting one that we will have on watch probably for a decent amount of the day. I know a lot of people are interested in CFVI. It's the SPAC that's going to be taking Rumble public. And DWAC, it looks like we did have fairly, almost a little bit of a negative day yesterday, other than the big pump up that we had in the pre-market and after hours. So we'll see how we go today. We have trended down just a touch in the after hours and pre-market of today. So we'll see. We'll see how DWAC goes. And of course, we'll have SPY also. And good morning, Chowder Girl. Good morning, Francis. It's good to see you guys back in the stream. And we do have some interesting data that came out, right? So we had a couple of releases. And Seeing Blind 2 says, you thought you could escape, Rob. We all know you sleep with your feet uncovered. Not true. Not true. It's a lie. But we have a couple of interesting economic statistics that have come out today. First off, the unemployment rate, right? We have the unemployment rate. This number was released at 8:30 this morning, and it was forecast to be 4.5%. Now, we actually came in lower than expected, which is good. You want the unemployment rate to be lower, right? You don't want people jobless. And it came in at 4.2%, so better than expected. And you can see on this graph right here, we have, ever since COVID hit, had a steady downtrend in the unemployment rate. Pretty much every month, there were 1 or 2 months where we ended up moving up. But for the most part, we have been moving down unemployment rate-wise. Eventually, we'll get back to the 3.5% that we were sticking at before COVID. But that's what we got unemployment rate-wise. We also got the non-farm roll payrolls. So these numbers actually came in worse than expected, which is very strange, right? It's very strange to see that the unemployment rate was forecast, came in better than we forecast, and the new jobs came in worse than we forecast, because those things are almost, the opposite, right? You would think that if we had worse job growth, then we would have worse unemployment rate. However, that appears not to be the case. So I don't know what kind of forecasts they were doing where they expected the payrolls to increase by much more than they did and the unemployment rate to be higher than it was. And then we missed on the payrolls and won on the unemployment. I'm really not sure what kind of calculations they were doing there, but apparently that's what happened. So it is a kind of conflicting forecast at the very least, right? The forecasts must have been conflicting if the data conflicted like this and missed the forecasts going both ways. So we've got some comments. So Saucy Fredo, your thoughts on CRTX, and Alan Newton, good morning. Your thoughts on CRTX. We'll take a peek at CRTX real quick. We'll take it. So Cortexime, we've looked at this one before in the past. It looks like, yeah, they had a big sell-off, and I believe they have a fairly high short interest. I think a lot of people are interested in this one as a potential short squeeze, and it's possible, right? They have been trending up over the past couple of days from $12. Now they're around $14. So let's see what the short interest is on it. No, that's not the one. CRTX. Cortexime. So here we go. Short interest on this one is 47% of the free float. We've got it right here, 8.48 million shares. So definitely, yeah, I mean, this is a potential short squeeze target, but with all of the short squeeze stocks, you got to remember that you need a lot of momentum coming into them to cause that short squeeze. So we are probably going to have to wait until this really takes off, potentially on Reddit, potentially just on Google. We'll have to see how this one does, in the next couple of days and weeks. If it can continue this uptrend, then yeah, we could definitely squeeze out some shorts as we get higher. That is a possibility. So good morning, Pedro, and good morning, Semrat, and Silver, the jobs report. Yep, we were just looking at it. And Alan Newton, but new jobs, huge miss. Yeah, for real. And press the like button, Shadow Girl says. That would be appreciated. I would love it if people press the like button. And Seem Blind 2 says, guaranteed we lost more jobs. Yeah, I mean, oftentimes they will revise these numbers. So, this isn't the end-all, be-all. The unemployment rate and the non-farm payrolls, it's not guaranteed that this is what they're going to remain at. In fact, if you look If I could zoom in, I would. But if you look at this little box that's popping up when you mouse over each of these bars, you can see the actual number, the forecasted number, and then what the actual number was revised from. So sometimes it's a pretty big revision of over 100,000. Sometimes it's not as significant, but you can see that there are revisions, and surely we'll probably see one. I mean, who knows? And for the unemployment rate as well, I don't know if we'll get a revision for that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It is strange that the payrolls shrunk or didn't shrink necessarily, but were smaller than expected, and the unemployment was also smaller than expected. You would think that those things wouldn't correlate that way. So, let's see, CYAD popping off the pre-market. CYAD, we'll take a peek at it. Let's see. So yeah, it looks like it's up pretty big. Let's see on a smaller time frame what happened with it. So we were up around 354, and then in the after hours and pre-market, we just shot up. Or actually, in the pre-market actually only. It looks like it was too low volume to even have after hours really. And in the pre-market, or is that the case actually? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, in the pre-market, we are up pretty big on CYAD. It looks like it's a healthcare stock. Okay, so they secured a 32.5 million equity investment from Fortress. All right, so potentially that's going to be helping them in the future, and people are looking at them like maybe this big downtrend is over. We'll see. I don't know if any of the big downtrends, are going to end until the tax loss harvesting ends. We'll see at the end of December if we've started moving up by then. But I think that there might still be some tax loss harvesting to go. We're going to see about the markets recovering. Who knows? The markets aren't necessarily down over the past year. So if you look at the past year, the SPY has been doing incredibly well. So not too many people need to tax loss harvest on the SPY. But the other stocks, some of the smaller caps, have definitely been seeing some pain as of late. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, good morning, Rocky Mountain Gobblers, and thoughts on Trump grabbing the stock market by the market cap PHUN DWAC, grabbing the stock market by the market cap. He's definitely trying to raise some more capital with DWAC, which we actually have up here. So I'll pull up PHUN in this bottom left. But yeah, he's definitely trying to raise some more capital, and I think that's a good thing for DWAC at least overall. I mean, it doesn't necessarily directly affect PHUN. But PHUN does just tend to trade in sympathy with DWAC at this point. And Zach Taylor, good morning. I need all my stocks to go up for my birthday. Well, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Let's see. 51 today. Happy 51st. That's awesome. That's awesome. And Richard Auden says, good morning, Rob. Hearing some rumors on Weibo that Sundial now has 6 months to be in compliance with the NASDAQ. I can't find that information anywhere. Can you? So, some rumors on Weibo. I've not even heard of Weibo. Weibo. What is that? Let's see. Sina Weibo is a Chinese microblogging website. Okay. So, interesting. Let's see. I haven't heard about that, but Weibo. Let's see if I'm not seeing it right here. I'll look into that later. But that's the kind of thing that could take a bit of looking to find if it's true. Good morning, Rich M. Good morning, Paul. And Shadow Girl asks, Zach, when is your birthday? I'm assuming today. Happy birthday, though. Let's see, is DWAC against short? Is it against short? Well, I mean, we'll pull up the short interest on DWAC so you guys can see for yourself. And excuse my voice if it's a little froggy this morning. I was yelling at a hockey game yesterday, so my voice is a little sore. Not really even sore, but just I can feel that it's a little bit froggier than normal, but that's okay. DWAC, as for if it's against shorts, I mean, there's 10% of the free float being shorted right now. It looks like it's been increasing the past couple of days. So it is up even today 0.6% to 3 million shares. So there are quite a few shorts in DWAC. It would be a while, though, before, even if DWAC started running up, it would have to get pretty darn high before we really started squeezing out shorts. A lot of shorts probably were shorting on the first couple of days when DWAC was up around $100 at some point, and 87, 91. A lot of shorts are probably getting in around the 60s and 70s too. You can see that we started tracking it on Ortex on, what day is this? November 9th. So we started tracking it, and they already had about an 11% short interest regarding the free float. So it was already pretty high when it started getting tracked. So we don't know exactly where most of the shorts originated, but we know that they were at fairly high values because it wasn't trading that low when a lot of people were shorting it. So yeah, a lot of the shorts are in at fairly high prices. We would need DWAC to rise quite a bit before actually squeezing any of those shorts out. Okay, so why is IronNet going up? Says little AR-15 Glockalized. IRNT. And I apologize, guys, if I miss some of these comments. It's tough. We've got a decent amount of them at this point. So IronNet, why is it going up? It looks like it was moving up yesterday. Circulate tweet from company highlighting our technology was able to detect the SolarWinds breach on May 31st, 2020, months before news broke of the breach. Okay, so, and they also announced third quarter fiscal results. Okay, so they got their earnings call coming up, so potentially people are buying them up in anticipation of their earnings call. And also it looks like, as of yesterday, which is probably the more relevant reason for why they're moving up, is because they're circulating a tweet that their technology was able to detect the SolarWinds breach on May 31st, 2020, months before the news broke. So that's potentially why they started moving up yesterday. We'll see if that continues. I don't know if that's the biggest catalyst in the world to get them moving up over the long term or even the midterm. I mean, it's a decent catalyst, I suppose. It shows that they've got their stuff together. But we'll see what happens with them. And $5 truck. Can you speak on Sundial IPO news? Yeah, so it's not Sundial, but it's Sunstream IPO. And I'll pull this up. I will pull up the article in case you guys missed the video I released on it yesterday. I'll pull up the article. So here we go. In fact, we've even got we got Motley Fool who just made an article on it. Maybe we want to pull this one up instead. No, I don't think so. Nah, we'll go to the one that we used in the video yesterday. So here we go. Sunstream Investment Core. So basically this is saying that Sundial is making a new company, Sunstream, and they've had this company for a bit, right? It's a joint venture between them and I believe the SAF, which is another cannabis-related, I don't know if it's a stock, but it's the SAF group, another cannabis-related investing group. And Sundial and them band together, made Sunstream Bancorp, and Sunstream is an investment company that invests oftentimes in cannabis stocks, especially in the U.S. So that's what they're going to be focusing on. The purpose of the offering of the IPO is to use the net proceeds to invest primarily in the debt of U.S. cannabis companies across the cannabis industry. So exciting stuff, especially since Sundial has a large ownership interest in this. I think around $500 million worth of Sundial's investments are in Sunstream. So it's cool stuff, and definitely good to see that they will be looking to get into the U.S. markets. It looks like they really are anticipating legalization in the near future. So this is pretty good stuff. Obviously, the CEO of Sundial is going to know better than us when legalization is going to happen, because that's his job full time. He's focusing on not just increasing Sundial's earnings and all that, but one of the best ways to do it is probably from U.S. legalization. So he's probably got his finger on the pulse. And it seems like he's betting on it happening sometime soon if he's starting to invest in the debt of U.S. cannabis companies. So good stuff for Sundial all around. Glad to see they'll be raising some capital to start expanding into the U.S. They already have quite a bit of capital too. So, and let's see. So Sundial said under no circumstances will they reverse split, says Seem Blind 2. Nice. I'm glad about that. Although it almost, while I certainly wouldn't like it, I will say a reverse split wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for the potential future stock price. Now, obviously, people investing in it at the time wouldn't be happy about it. They'd be losing some money. But if you were to reverse split, we'll pull up the Sundial statistics right here. you would have the number of shares outstanding. Right now it's at 2.06 billion shares outstanding. And if you did a reverse split, obviously people right now would lose some money if you were invested in it. But there would then only be half the number of shares available, which could be a much easier amount to pump up in the future if there was Wall Street bets like meme-driven rally. So that could be good. But, obviously I don't want it to happen because then we'd all have half the number of shares that we've got. But overall, it wouldn't be the absolute worst thing in the world. I wouldn't hate it that much. I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I wouldn't be too happy. So can you speak on IPO PR from Sundial yesterday? That's what we just did. Yeah, we were just talking about the Sunstream IPO. So happy Friday, bye, says Good Taste CLO. Yeah, I think, we're nearing the end of this bloodbath, I think. Towards the end of the month, we might be seeing the bottom. And potentially we'll stagnate towards the end of December. I think that, a lot of people have been tax loss harvesting, not just on Sundial, but on a lot of stocks, right? A lot of stocks that may have been losers. Potentially that's another reason why stocks and the overall market have been trending down a little bit. The SPY has been trending down over the past couple of days. So that's another potential reason, right? Some of the losers in the SPY may have been getting sold off. Obviously, the Russells has really been suffering. IWM, you can see it right here in the bottom left. Over the past year, they were not doing great, right? They moved up in January and even some of February before they stagnated for most of the year. They recently got a little pump up, and now they have dipped again. So they have really been experiencing a lot of pain lately. And these are the smaller market cap stocks. So, a lot of them have been getting sold off. A lot of them people maybe bought at higher prices, and they're now looking to sell due to tax loss harvesting reasons if you want to lower your tax bill. So, let's see, Eric. Hey, all. What's up, Eric? And Kitchener Leslie says, don't switch the blade on the guy in shades. Oh, no. And Pedro Volta says, any comments pre-market PHUN? We'll take a peek at PHUN. PHUN has not been moving that much in the pre-market. It looks like it's been relatively stagnant. They've moved down a little bit. Slight downtrend, similar to DWAC. So slight downtrends in PHUN and DWAC. Not reacting to the best. Not reacting as well as the markets are to the payroll and, well, not the payroll news, but the unemployment news. So we'll see what happens, though. Oftentimes the markets move up in the pre-market, and, this isn't the best news, right? The unemployment data is all right. You can see, for those of you who've just joined, that they were forecast to have a 4.5% unemployment rate. They actually had a 4.2% unemployment rate. And this news just came out at 8:30 this morning. And the non-farm payroll numbers, though, were kind of horrible, right? They were forecast to have 550,000 new jobs, and we only had 210,000, so less than half of what we were hoping for. And obviously that could get revised later on. They could revise that number. In fact, they almost always revise the number. So it's probably not accurate, but it might be close. It might be close to what we really got. So that's not ideal, right? We had far fewer jobs being created than we were forecasting. So, I mean, somehow the unemployment rate still managed to fall. I don't know how they managed that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with the markets on the first bell once some real volume kicks in. I mean, we've already got a little bit. Ever since around 8:30, we started getting some volume, but we'll see what happens when the real volume and the real buyers and the real sellers start trading. So, Germany's saying folks unvaccinated need to quarantine. That would be ugly if Brandon did the same thing here. It might be. It might be. And Eric says, all good, finished working, and the weekend has landed. Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's nice when you can have an early... well, actually, yeah, I guess you're in a different time zone. So, yeah, I guess if you're done for the day, then that's awesome. See, I'm just starting my Friday. It's 9:21 a.m. right here, East Coast time in the U.S., so it's pretty darn early for me. Not super early, but, it's early on in the day. Got a lot of stuff to take care of. I have a final to take today, so we've got a lot on our plates before the weekend. But once the weekend hits, it is relaxing. It's good, I think, to have weekends kept mostly free from work, right? Ideally, there's not too much work. Obviously, if there's something you have to take care of that just doesn't fit in during the rest of the week, like an oil change for a car or something like that, then understandable. 3:21 p.m. here, says Eric. Nice. So looks like what, a 7-hour difference, or is that a 7-hour? I think it might be a 6-hour difference. So cool stuff. Interesting. So Silver says, I'm thinking of buying the farm my mom's cousin owns. She travels a lot. No kids, 70s, too much for her to take care of in upstate New York. That sounds awesome. I would love to own a farm someday. That sounds super fun. So I'm jealous of that, Silver, if you end up doing it. That sounds super fun. Living the ranch life. That sounds very enjoyable, very natural, very peaceful. And Seam Blind 2, thoughts on MKD? I have a $50 position. I'll take a peek at MKD. So Molecular, it looks like if they're 23 cents, then you got about 200 shares. So Molecular Data Inc. So 1 year. Looks like they've been falling quite a bit. As, you know, same trend that we've seen with a lot of these small market caps. I think that they could come back in 2022. I think that they really have just been getting beaten down on. Obviously, not all of the small market cap stocks are going to come back, but you see the same pattern with pretty much all of them, right? Big pumps up in January and February, and then just huge descents for the rest of the year pretty much. It's rarely the case that the small market caps have done well over the past couple of months. So we'll see. And NJ says, kind of curious now, where is everyone from? East Coast here for me too. And Eric says Sweden. So nice. And what was I about to do? Okay, yeah, MKD. There we go. We'll pull it up on Market Watch and see what they're all about. So they've got a $45 million market cap, and Molecular Data Inc., MKD, is a technology-driven platform in China's chemical industry, connecting participants along the chemical value chain through integrated solutions. It delivers e-commerce solutions, financial solutions, warehousing and logistics solutions, and SaaS suite that are intended to solve pain points for participants in the traditional chemistry industry. Okay, so a somewhat niche company then. If only chemical companies would be interested in dealing with them, it looks like. Not the kind of thing that would be marketed directly to retail consumers, but potentially a big business. I mean, China, I'm sure they have a lot of chemicals in China that they need to work with for their manufacturing processes, and they've only got a $45 million market cap at the moment. And like I said before, I think a lot of these smaller market cap stocks have just been getting beaten down, potentially unfairly over the past year. I think it could do decently in 2022. It might be more of a long-term play, though. So we'll see what happens with it. But shout out from Los Angeles, says Rich M. Nice. That sounds like a fun place to live. Okay. So let's see. I did want to pull up Wall Street Bets real quick and just show you guys DocuSign is doing incredibly well. The number 3 stock on Wall Street Bets, right under Alibaba, which is also up quite a bit. So we'll have to take a peek at those real quick. But for some reason, DocuSign has just taken off, up 2,500% mention-wise. So we'll see what the stock itself is doing. It's up 136 spots, though. So I am somewhat curious about, what is it, DOCU? That's the ticker right there. DOCU. So it's actually down. It's not exploding or anything. There was some big volume. It looks like they had an earnings call. Okay. So their earnings call tanked them. Look at that. It went from $234 per share, and now they're at lows of $155. So crazy stuff. Huge hit to DocuSign. I mean, and it looks like the earnings call wasn't horrible. They made money on it. They had positive earnings where they were expected to lose money. So what the heck is going on? Let's see. So DocuSign receives price target cut to $220 from $345 by RBC as fiscal Q3 billings, Q4 revenues guidance disappoint. Okay, and Wedbush cuts DocuSign from neutral to neutral from outperform. Price target to $200 from $340. So it looks like a bunch of analysts have lowered their price target. Wells Fargo adjusts DocuSign price target to $180 from $275. Wow. On weak fiscal quarter 3 earnings report and an outperform rating maintained. All right. So a lot of institutions just lowered their price targets on DocuSign, crashing the stock. Kind of crazy that they can do that. It shows, I guess, that there are a lot of people who really believe in in the price targets that those analysts give, and they're sometimes accurate, but that is tough. Jeez, DocuSign, it was doing so well earlier this year, up at $314. Crazy stuff. So they have fallen quite a bit. Now they're less than half of where they were, it looks like, at their heights. So crazy stuff for DocuSign. Over the past 2 years, though, you can't complain if you've been holding it, because they are up from around $80, so you've still doubled your money. So not much to complain about, but that's crazy. All right, and Baba, we'll take a peek at Alibaba. So this one, it looks like, is down as well. Did they just have their earnings call a couple days ago? No. So what happened with them? Didi's plan to delist from NYSE sends Alibaba and other major Chinese tech names sinking in Hong Kong. Interesting. So Didi, which we'll take a peek at, DIDI. Didi Global, I think this is the one. I'm pretty sure this is the one that people are talking about. It looks like they actually got a little pump up on this news initially and then sank down. So interesting. So the big Chinese tech stocks are potentially moving down as U.S. regulators move a step closer to delisting Chinese companies. That would be absolutely insane if they did that. Unfortunately, my friends and I talk about this a decent amount. It seems like China may be winning overall, in the whole, in not just the trade war, but it just seems like they might have a little bit of a better hold on things than we do here, unfortunately. Maybe not, but it certainly seems like they might be winning the overall battle for dominance, in which which country, I should say, will be the big world power. So unfortunately, it seems like that might be the case. For us living in the United States, maybe some people here like China, but I typically am a little wary of them. But it looks like they may be winning the big battle. Not sure if it's going to be a real battle or if it's just going to be a trade and economic battle. But if you're not able to invest in Chinese companies, if those end up getting delisted, I know that's something that I've heard of in the past. If U.S. regulators really do delist Chinese companies from our markets, then it could make it pretty tough to invest in those Chinese companies. You might have to go through some, who knows, some strange brokerages. I mean, who knows if it's a U.S. regulation, it might just be illegal altogether. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I certainly like holding some Chinese stocks just on the chance that China ends up surpassing the U.S. in a significant way. So I like hedging my bets in that way a little bit, but let's see. Hopefully that's unnecessary. And Chattergirl says, Rob, you have 7,770 subscribers. Nice number. I think so too. I think that's a good number. And Silver says, Rob has jumped 2.3K in the last month. Yeah, we have been growing pretty fast. We've been growing pretty fast. So good stuff to see. I'm happy to see it. Happy to see more of you guys in the chat, especially the regulars. It's enjoyable seeing the same faces over and over. And I think around 10K we'll maybe start up on some other platforms, maybe a Discord or something. But if you guys are interested, actually, in the description of this, I've got my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Rumble account in links in the description. So if anyone wants to check out any of those platforms, I really have very few. I think I have like 3 followers on Twitter. And Instagram, I've got a couple thousand followers. So Silver says 10K by end of winter. I hope that's the goal. The goal was 10K by the end of 2021. We didn't quite get there. That's the goal that I set when I started this a couple months ago. Back, I think July was the first month that I was really doing it. July 1st, I think, is when my first video, maybe June 30th, actually, is when my first video technically went up. And we got pretty darn close. And we've still got a month to go, just about. So we'll see how close to 10K we can get. That was a very ambitious goal. So Shadowgirl says, I'm happy for him. Rob is down to earth. I cannot listen to others who are playing with cats with V signs. Interesting. I don't know what reference that's to, but it doesn't sound good. And Ludwig Waldmer says, AMC, he deleted the message. Ludwig says, apes hodl strong, guys. So yeah, let's take a peek at AMC real quick. Okay, so it's recovered a little bit from where we looked at it yesterday. And it is up, actually. So, and the opening bell hit a minute ago. I wasn't even paying attention to it. But we'll zoom in on some of these charts just so we can get a better look. It looks like the markets are a little red. Sundial saw some negative pressure but fought against it. So we're potentially going to be green on Sundial today. We're already up 1.2%. We'll definitely be battling with 60 cents. So let's see, AMC. AMC is also in the green, so it looks like it is recovering regarding the big losses that it saw 2 days ago. It's starting to recover a bit. We'll see if we can't get it back up, maybe to the $35 or $40 range. I know a lot of people have been disappointed to see AMC moving down so much over the past couple of days. So I'll love Rob on DWAC channel when it goes live in crows. Yeah, I appreciate that, Silver. And we need AMC and Sundial to go to Pluto. I think so. And Zach Taylor says, I'm about to give up on metals. 2 years is about all I can take. I feel, almost the same way. But I'm not sure if I want to give up on metals. Yeah, I'm looking at the gold chart. And honestly, 2 years ago, if you bought 2 years ago today, they're up pretty big. Especially if you bought beginning of COVID, where we hit the lows at 136 on gold. So they are up fairly big over the past 2 years. But if that they have definitely fallen from the highs. The thing about gold is I think that sometimes it can take a very long time to take a peek at this, right? It might be a similar thing, right? We saw a big rise in gold's price this year, and the same kind of thing happened in 2008. When we first got the recession, we moved down in gold for almost all of the year. We came back a little bit in December, actually. And then it was just up and up and up from 2009 to 2011. We were just moving up and up and up pretty much consistently throughout the years. So we could be seeing a similar thing, right? We could, I'll draw it on the chart right here, but we could be looking at this period that we're in right now. This period right here for gold could be synonymous with this period right here. Right as the potential recession was hitting, and right as all this money printing was going on, gold was falling. But it might be over soon. But I don't know. I've been thinking about the same thing. I think gold has been the metals have been doing pretty poorly. At least as far as I'm concerned, they've been doing pretty darn poorly. And Kitchen Leslie says he had one chop prob and he missed the opening bell. Yeah, I know, right? It looks like Sundial's fallen a little, just a touch, as is DWAC. We'll see how far these go. Hopefully not too far. SPY, the markets are moving up, though. But yeah, with gold, I'm not super worried about it. I think it's been around for a long time. But yeah, I understand the urge to give up on the metals. So Marie G says, I got rid of Twitter when they banned Trump. I kind of miss it, but it's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. I never really use Twitter that much. I follow like 10 people, and I never use it. So look for the drop, 15% smash by bankers. I'm feeling it, 2015 Xmas style. We'll see if hopefully it doesn't happen, but we'll see. And Kitchener Leslie says gold was like $450 an ounce in 2008. Yeah, I mean gold, it's gotten fairly expensive traditionally speaking, but regarding how much money there is in the system now, it certainly doesn't seem that expensive. So Congress will push out debt ceiling, says Silver, to February 18th, so it gives bankers time to smash it paper style for physical loading up. Yeah, I mean, I think that probably there has been, I know China's been buying up some gold. And Zach Taylor says cryptos have jacked metals up. Yeah, I think to a certain extent they have. But the overall market cap of cryptos is only, I think, around 2 trillion. I think Bitcoin is half of that too. So, gold's market cap is 10 trillion just about. So it's a fairly large amount of money, I'll admit, that could have been flowing into gold instead. But I don't know how much longer that will go on, how much longer people will use cryptos instead of gold. I mean, if things really start to get dicey, things really start to get bad economically, I think people would want something a bit more secure. So we'll see. And Silver says, I never used TikTok or Twitter. Ready to unplug from Facebook. DWAC, I'm waiting for the new home of freedom of speech. Yeah, I think a lot of people will be flocking to it. And I mean, I never really used Facebook or Twitter that much. And I used TikTok for just a little bit there. And then I stopped because I realized how addictive it was and how much time it was easy to spend just sitting there mindlessly scrolling through TikTok. Very dangerous, very addictive. Not my favorite platform overall. I don't know how much value you can really get out of a minute-long video, but maybe there's some. It seems mostly like comedy that they do on there, though. So at least that's what I was getting shown. So hopefully these little downturns in Sundial. I mean, it looks like we just very quickly sold off. It's surprising to see. I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting it. So let's see. NAKD is up just a touch. I'm still in my NAKD position right here. Looks like the markets are starting to move down too, though. It looks like SPY just bounced off 460. But NAKD up about 1% on the day, about 0.5% now. So we'll see if NAKD can turn around. I'm pretty bullish on NAKD over the midterm. I don't know how long it will go up for, but I think that we're probably near the lows. We'll see. Obviously, there's been a lot of blood in the markets this month, so hopefully it doesn't dip too much more. I could definitely see some people potentially tax loss harvesting it, but the hope is that there won't be too much of that. We did technically break this pattern of higher highs and higher lows that we'd been seeing over the past while on NAKD. We just broke it, but just barely. So right now we are actually back up above where we would need to be maintaining it, but we did technically break the pattern. So it might not be good for NAKD, but I'm still going to hold just a little bit longer. I think we could definitely get up to 70 cents. I think that would be a decent gain, a potential place to sell out of. I would love if they started offering options for NAKD. All right, and Sundial is getting beaten down. Every bar, it seems, just getting pushed down lower and lower. DWAC trying to reverse. And crazy low volume in the pre-market for DWAC, like 100 shares each minute. Crazy low volume. Strange to see, especially regarding how volatile it was yesterday, but weird stuff. Weird stuff. I would have thought that it would have a bit more volume. I mean, I've noticed in the past that they have had big pumps up in volume, but oftentimes the volume ends up becoming pretty darn low when it starts stagnating. So I'm not sure if there just aren't many people who are interested in trading, if people are more interested in buying and holding it. But we'll see. It's down 2.9% since yesterday's close, and Sundial seems to make a new low with every bar. So not loving that. Not loving that. Let's see what the top trenders of the day. CFVI, that's the one that we want to look at. CFVI. So this is the one that's taking Rumble public. It looks like it's gotten pretty darn close. It followed a very similar pattern to SBEA. It got up, it pumped in the pre-market, got up about 40% from where it was trading initially, and then just started trending down, getting closer and closer to $10. So we'll see. So Zach Taylor says, and first of all, Brazil A, good morning. What's up? Let's destroy the like button. I agree. And Zach Taylor says Bank of America will deliver 25 million ounces worth of borrowed physical silver, with most of it going to JP Felon today. Me think something huge may be in the works. I hope. We'll see what happens. I know the physical metal, if you want to buy the physical metal or if I want to buy it, it certainly costs a lot more than the spot price. That's for sure. So who's to say what the real price of gold is? I mean, obviously, on paper, it's being held down pretty low. But if we actually wanted to buy some, I think it's pretty darn expensive. It's, I think, over $2,000 an ounce if you can find it. At least that's what it was a month or so ago when I was last checking. But let's see. Let's see what the gold spot price is at the moment. So currently the spot price is $1,772. So not too far off from 2,000, but I think, man, if we could break 2,000 and hold above that, that could be a huge leg up for gold. I think that people would start looking at it a lot more seriously. The last time it really ran up, it went pretty darn high. And if we could break the old resistance of 2,000, then that would be really exciting. I know I was very excited the last time we were breaking 2,000. And it really seemed like we could have run up, but I guess there just wasn't enough momentum. There wasn't enough fear about inflation. I don't know. Now there is a lot more fear about inflation. So potentially, if we did it again, people would be looking at gold a lot more seriously. And gold at that time had already run up quite a bit. At this point, it's run up. It's consolidated for a while. I think we could be ready for the next leg up pretty darn soon. If not the end of this year, then hopefully the beginning of next. But we'll see. We'll see. I think that right now it's pretty cheap just because nobody has shown much interest in it because it has just been bouncing around the past year. And Zach Taylor says once we break 2K, 3K will follow very quickly. I think that could be the case. I think we could definitely see a big run up in gold price pretty darn quickly if we can break 2K. Pretty darn quickly. So don't let the cat out of the bag, Leslie us. Is this Nasara, Jasara? I don't know. I don't know. I don't get a lot of these references, guys. I don't know, man. But that's all right. I'll try to learn them slowly but surely. And let's see if FinViz has it updated yet. No, it hasn't. So it's still showing the overall markets as being gray, which obviously is not the case. It takes a minute to update. But speaking of gold and assets like that, cryptos have definitely, not been good for gold. Obviously, they're marketed oftentimes as an alternative to gold, but Bitcoin has been suffering as well lately. Although, obviously, for the past year, they've been doing great. They're up huge over the past year from 18K to 56K. But they started out much smaller market caps, right? So Bitcoin is still not nearly as large of a market cap as gold is, which, isn't surprising. At all because it is just a digital asset and people maybe have a little bit less faith in it. It's a lot newer. So, we'll see. It's potentially cheaper to hold and store because there's no physical thing to hold. You just have it on a USB and you could have theoretically unlimited on USB if you've got enough space on the USB. But Bitcoin not doing great today. It looks like it's down 0.35%. So Bitcoin's not, it's doing okay. It looks like it just bumped up to 0.23% gain on the day. So Ethereum doing all right. The cryptos are pretty darn stagnant, except one that I was looking at earlier today was Polygon, ticker symbol MATIC. So this one's up 17%, 15% on the day, 36% on the week. And I'm curious why that is. A lot of the time these cryptos, there seems to be no explanation for why they've risen so much. But if you look a year ago, if you bought this crypto, take a peek at this. If you bought this this crypto a year ago, it was trading at 1.9 cents, and now it's at $2.33. So, man, a lot of these cryptos you could have made a whole lot of money on if you were buying them at the right time. So, Chainlink, let's see. Chainlink is up 3%. Algorand is up. Bitcoin Cash, I think people kind of forgot about it. Looks like, is that a $10 billion market cap? Kind of crazy. Crypto.com coin continuing to fall. So, Crypto.com coin is moving down. It has been over the past bit. So it's down below 70 cents to 69 cents, 68 cents. We watched that drop live. So it's not looking good for Crypto.com coin. It looks like the advertising has potentially reached its peak. Obviously, it could always turn around. It could obviously turn around. But yeah, Sundial says Flex Force has got your butt hurt. And Whirls Arizvi says hold. I'm holding mine. I'm not too worried about Sundial falling, and especially towards the end of the year. I think a lot of people are going to be tax loss harvesting on it. And the options are starting to get a little bit juicier. Potentially, you could be selling the 50-cent puts for 20 cents. We'll see if we can get them any higher. I mean, at a certain point, it's just going to become too ridiculous not to sell some more of those. I'm sure if we keep falling, then it's just going to become a better and better deal. And I will do it, guys, right now because I haven't done it yet this stream. We've got 82 viewers and 51 likes. So potentially we could get that 51 like number up a little bit. If we got some more people hitting the like button, we got up to 52 likes. Maybe we could get it up to 60 if we got 8 more people liking the stream. It's possible. It's possible we could do it. But, if you take a peek at this watch list I have right here, pretty much every single stock actually is red on this watch list. So that just goes to show the markets are still feeling some pain. The SPY is changing course a little bit. Even QQQ is down. So tech stocks are down. Everything's down today. FinViz, it's no wonder why they're taking so long to update this stock market map. Because they really don't want to show everybody how red it is, probably. I mean, if we refresh, there we go. We've surprisingly enough, everything is green somehow, and yet the markets are bleeding a little bit. I guess the S&P is still up just a touch. It's still up 0.08%, but the QQQ, so big tech is down. The small market cap stocks are down. I suppose just whichever stocks they've chosen to track here are all up. I mean, you look at this map and you'd think the markets were up a decent amount, but that is not the case. Maybe we need to update it again. It got a little bit grayer that time, so yeah, it changed a little bit. I mean, this could be the transitioning point, I guess. We're getting pretty darn close to being a negative day on the S&P regarding where we were yesterday. So check out DocU, down 38%. I know we were looking at DocuSign earlier, DOCU, down massively today. So it looks like they just got a bunch of downgrades from analysts, and that was enough to push them down in a huge way. So, I mean, obviously, their earnings, they apparently had a disappointing earnings call and poor looking forward guidance. So I guess people were just disappointed with them, and I'm surprised that at the end of the day, we did not have much volume. Now there's a ton of volume, at least regarding what we saw. I guess there's a decent amount compared to what they've usually gotten yesterday. Let's see on the one-day chart. Yeah, so yesterday even actually got a bunch of volume compared to what they usually get. But boy, oh boy, today are a lot of shares trading. Obviously, the shares are a lot cheaper, so it's easier to trade more of them. It's almost half the price. I mean, not quite half the price yet, but it's getting pretty darn close to half the price, so it makes sense to double the shares trading. Also, there's a lot of momentum, likely because the price has fallen so much, so a lot of people, maybe people are shorting it even. So let's see. What's DocuSign looking like short interest-wise? We'll see what it's looking like on Ortex. Okay, interesting stuff. It's actually not that high. Very few people are shorting this, and fewer people are shorting it today than were yesterday. So 2.88% of the free float, 5.58 million shares, and 0.39% utilization. So hardly anyone shorting DocuSign. I bet they're regretting that today because they could have made 38% overnight if they were. So we'll see what happens to DocuSign. But yeah, not looking great on the long-term chart to see that they are at yearly lows, 52-week lows on DocuSign. Potentially that's helping to track down the markets a little bit. I mean, it's not the most massive company, but it's something. It's let's see what the market cap is on it. So Ortex says the market cap is 45 billion. I'm not sure if they've updated it since this big fall. It might have been 90 billion a minute ago. People might have lost about 45 billion worth of value. No, so it was 45 billion. Now it's a $28 billion market cap stock. So there goes $17 billion right there to whoever was holding DocuSign stock. So that's too bad. That's too bad. And the weird thing is, it looks like their earnings calls have been improving quarter over quarter. So I don't know why they fell so big on this one. Obviously, I've not been looking too deeply into DocuSign stock, but crazy stuff. And Nick Hood says market is dying currently. Market is dying. And Kitchener Leslie says, don't look right into the camera, Rob. I swoon. I'll try not to. But yeah, DocuSign's been getting destroyed. And Silver says we should know where the markets are going in an hour. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it looks like they're not going anywhere good. If you looked at what's happened with the S&P, it moved up the first couple of bars, and since then has just been going down, down, down. So not good stuff for the S&P. Not good stuff for QQQ either. You can see QQQ also the same trend, right? Up the first couple of bars, then down the rest of the day. IWM, it looks even worse. It's just a straight drop. I mean, they opened, and it's just been downhill ever since. Pretty much every bar. Every now and then, there's a couple of bars that come back and are green. But geez, a lot of these stocks are just getting dunked on today. People are selling at the end of the year. They're tax loss harvesting. I think that's what a lot of this is. So potentially, if you have some cash on the sidelines, the next couple of days and weeks could be a good time to buy up some stocks right before January hits, because in a month from all of these drops is when people can start buying back into their positions without worrying about the wash sale rule, and they don't have to worry then about paying as much tax if they've suffered a loss on the stocks that they've sold. So we could definitely see in a month or two from now a lot of people buying back into these names, and they could definitely be going up come 2022. As long as the Fed doesn't reverse course and start tapering too much too soon and raising interest rates, I think that would be overall pretty darn negative for the markets if the Fed did that, if Powell really reversed course very quickly, quicker than people are expecting at least. all in all, I don't think it's going to be a good thing when interest rates go up for stocks, regardless, right? I think that we have been benefiting from extremely low interest rates for a very long time. And I don't think anyone wants to see, anyone who's investing in stocks at least, wants to see interest rates going up. I mean, I'm happy with cheap money, so I'm happy with that. I'll take cheap money any day. In some countries, I think they have negative interest rates, so they'll be paying people to take loans. I mean, I would take a loan for sure. I'd take a loan, even if you just let the cash sit and then pay it back later. So negative interest rates really are crazy. So let's see where there are negative interest rates. Where? So let's see. So countries with negative interest rates. So here we go. We got a couple of them. Let's see. So as of March 2020, there are 3 central banks with negative interest rates. The European Central Bank, which set the interest rate for the European Union, is no longer negative at 0%. Sweden, which was the first country to try negative interest rates, also currently has an interest rate of 0%. So Switzerland interest rate currently sits at negative 0.75. The Swiss National Bank has reported the same interest rate for the last 5 years, while GDP growth prediction for 2020 was expected to be between 1.5 and 2%. The economy is expected to contract due to COVID-19. Inflation in 2020 is expected to rise to 0.64% from 0.57 in 2019. All right. And in Denmark, the Central Bank of Denmark has set the primary interest rate to negative 0.6%, an increase from its previous negative 0.75% rate. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So I'm not sure. It says that Sweden. Okay, Sweden is different from Switzerland. Never mind. I always mix those two up. So yeah, we'll see if we get negative interest rates here. I doubt it, but I think people will be taking far too much advantage of that. So Kitchen Leslie says, sure, Powell is on our side. We'll see what he does. It doesn't look good for the markets right now, though. The markets are falling pretty darn quickly. I guess it's a good thing I have some short positions on the markets. I'm in SQQQ at the moment and SPXU. SQQQ, we'll take a peek at it. And what was the other one? SPXU. There we go. So they're both up pretty big. They're both shorts tracking. SPXU is tracking the S&P 500, and SQQQ is tracking the biggest tech stocks. So let's see. Seem Blind 2, thank you for the super chat and wink for us, Rob. Definitely, man, for sure. We'll give out a little wink for you and for Kitchener. We'll give out a little wink. I'll definitely do it for $2. I need to start an OnlyFans if that's how we're doing this. That's how these streams are going. I think OnlyFans at one point, didn't they say they were going to cancel all of the sexually explicit content? So I guess all you really could do is wink for people on there if that's what they ended up doing. And Brazil AA says, let's show some love and press the like button. Like from in Rob, goal today is 120. Yeah, let's see if we can do it. We've got 101 viewers in the stream right now and 70 likes. Let's see if we can get it up to 3,000 likes today. Let's see if we can do it. 3,000. That's what we're aiming for. So if you want to be one of the first 3,000 people to like the stream, then why not hit the like button right now? We'll see if we can get up to 3K. Probably not, but we'll see. Let's see. In SQQQ, it looks like they're taking a bit of a dip. That means the markets are moving up. We'll move back to the regular markets on these charts. I know not everybody's shorting, and it's I can infer what's going on with those positions just by looking at the markets and assuming it's going the opposite way in those trades. So, it seemed blind too. Oof, almost committed Sudoku with that move. Oh, yeah. Wow. Sudoku, that's the Japanese suicide thing, isn't it? Don't do that, anybody. We can't afford that. Not on the stream. And how late are you staying today, says Kitchener. Probably not super late. Potentially not 2:30. 10:30 or 11, we'll see. Like I said, I've got a final to take today. I was supposed to take it yesterday. Didn't quite get to it. So there is a decent amount that I've got to get done on Friday. And I need to spray some insecticide around the house. We've got a couple of ants coming in. One of my housemates has mentioned. So we've got a couple of ants. I got to spray some ant poison. And and take a final. So we've got a bit of work, and obviously Friday's the last day of the week, so it's time to hit the gym. I haven't mentioned my typical schedule workout wise to you guys, I don't believe, but typically I'll do some kind of exercise each weekday, and on the weekends I think it's a good time to let your body recover. But that is something I think that it's important to take care of. Not just, a lot of you guys, if you're watching the stream, you're probably interested in taking care of your finances, but I think you also got to take care of your body. You don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. So I say, we used to, as humans, work out a ton of the day, not even on purpose, right? Not lifting weights or anything, but just going into the fields and hunting or farming, doing whatever we were doing. And we used to get a lot more physical activity. Nowadays, we're sitting on our screens for large portions of the day. It's not very good for our health, in my opinion, at least. I don't think it's good for our health. So I think we ought to spend a little bit more time in the gym, maybe pumping some iron, doing cardio, whatever it is you like to do. But I think at least an hour a day, at least 5 hours a week, right? If you go each weekday for an hour, I think that's very reasonable regarding, the fact that we used to work out probably 8 hours a day. In the past, if every day, if we were a farmer, there was no weekend. So weekends are for abs, says Flex Force. Yeah, that's that's a good day. I think weekends, I prefer weekends. If I'm going to do something on weekends, I prefer if it's a little bit of cardio. I typically don't do too much cardio, so the weekends are a nice time to do it. And you can get cardio in going on a jog around a lake, or even if you just go walking somewhere, it's decent on the weekends. But yeah, Wednesday is ab day. I typically do that. So let's see. We have one more report coming out. There we go. So in 1 minute, actually, if this is updated correctly, at 10 o'clock, I believe it is, let's refresh this page. So yeah, at 10 o'clock, we've got the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. So non-manufacturing purchasing managers index. I believe this is showing how much business activity through purchases, employment, and supplier deliveries, new orders also. So basically, I think we want this thing to be as high as possible. It is ideal for the economy, is ideal for the dollar at least, right? So at 10, it looks like we had a big beat last month. And in just 2 minutes at 10 o'clock, we're going to get this this number coming out. So we were forecast to have a ranking of 65, and we'll see if we can beat it today. But we got that coming out soon. And Buddy B, good morning, Rob. Hope you have a good day. I do the gym also. Yeah, I think it's really important. So that's really good. A lot of people don't. But yeah, I think it's very important for even if it's not the gym, just doing some exercise. You can do body weight stuff at your house if you don't have any weights, or you could even just do some cardio running around. But I think it's really important to do physical activity. So cardio gets in the way of my smoking, says Kitchen Leslie. That's understandable. You don't have to do it then. And what are we benching up? Got to know. So if we're talking about the max, I'm trying to think of what it would be. I typically don't think of the weight, but I've got, all right, let's see if it's a 45 and 25 on each side of the thing. I don't know the math on it, but let's see, 60, 120, 130 plus the 45. So I should know this. 165, maybe 175 is the max that I've tried. I don't have a spot typically. I prefer to work out alone, so I don't have a spot most of the time. So I'm not necessarily going all out on my max. I'm sure I could do a little bit more, but I don't really want to risk it. One time I did actually hurt myself benching for about a week, and it was not actually because I did too much weight. It was because I was actually doing a lower amount of weight. And as I pushed the bar up, you know how it has those things on the side where you rack the bar? The bar ended up hitting one of those racks and getting shot down on me. And I managed to re-rack it, but boy, did that really hurt my chest for about a week. Not even because the muscle was strained, but just because of the weight and the pressure of that bar slamming down on my chest. So, Buddy B, I always come on my laptop while I watch you on TV just so I can like your vids. Love watching you, bro. I appreciate that, Buddy B. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, listening to the stream while working out, I think that's a great thing to do. That definitely makes sense. Two birds, one stone, right there. I tend to, when I'm working out, I put on the Joe Rogan Experience. I listen to Joe Rogan while I'm working out a decent amount of time. Maybe some music if I'm doing a really intense workout. Sometimes you need some music to hype you up, but Silver says, I think CBD and THC fights it better. I don't know what you're talking about, it fighting better, but I would agree probably. I think that there are some natural solutions out there to a lot of the issues that people have, and a lot of people just turn to traditional medications right away. I think that maybe it would be wise for people to move into the CBD and THC zone, potentially. Not a recommendation or anything, but I think it could be beneficial, maybe. We'll see. As more studies come out, we'll see. So, let's see. It looks like this is a horrible chart on Sundial. It's just been moving down 3.5%. QQQ moving down 2. SPY, everything's moving down. I guess those short positions will be paying off, keeping the account up. Hopefully, not bringing us down too much more. And it looks like, as I have finished off this coffee, I will be right back, guys, real quick. Quick bathroom break. Gotta get rid of the coffee. It's pretty much gone. But I'll be right back. So just hold tight 1 second, and I will return. All right, I have returned. Here we are, back again. So let's see. We've got some comments coming in. So, geez, we missed quite a few comments. All right. We've got quite a bit. All right, so sending you love from the city of Lizzie Borden. Thanks for all you do. Lizzie Borden. I'm not sure where that is. I can't say I've heard of it. If that's in the U.S. or what, but that's... I appreciate that, buddy. And Buddy B isn't Jeff Tubin, says Silver. Man, I don't get half these references, guys. And Mariji says, do you have to be vaccinated to go to the gym? Well, let me tell you, we're not going to talk about the vaccines on the channel. That's when YouTube really comes in and starts banning people. So we're not going to bring it there. It's even risky talking about DWAC stock probably. So we're cutting it off at the vaccines. We're not talking about those on the channel. But Buddy B, love watching Rob every morning. Good dude right here. Better than Matt Kors for me. Yeah, I mean, I've watched a little bit of Matt Kors. I like Matt Kors. I mean, nothing, no shade on him. I like him. I think he's a good guy, but I appreciate that, buddy. And Tyler Mike, this a stock market crash. Cannabis sector, Sundial, TLRY, Hexo especially. Good for the government and Wall Street. This is awesome. Hopefully get Sundial at 10 cents. I don't know if we could get down to 10 cents. I think that would be too crazy. I mean, I think that would be way too crazy. No way we'd be getting down to 10 cents. That would be insane. You know, if they did a 5-for-1 stock split, then maybe we could get down to 10 cents. But I don't think they'd do that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Sundial. 10 cents would be way too low at this point. But it has been falling today, so down about 2 cents. And Abstract, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you back in the stream. It's been a pretty bloody day so far, so you haven't missed anything that you would have wanted to see. It's just been drops in everything. Drops in Sundial, drops in DWAC, drops in QQQ, drops in SPY. Everything's moving down, so you've not missed too much. Don't worry about it. Okay, Buddy B says, I like him. Nothing bad. You're just better for me. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's see. So, what do we got? PHUN, it looks like, is down 13%. This is shocking that PHUN has fallen so much. They were up at $4.88 in the pre-market, just yesterday's pre-market. Now they're down to $3 again. Potentially they'll use it as a support this time. We'll see. We'll see what PHUN can do. But man, a lot of these stocks are getting very cheap. TLRY tanking. This is crazy. TLRY's down below $10 to $8.93. Insanity. Super cheap on TLRY. I think I have some put contracts sold on TLRY, so we'll see. I mean, those might end up executing. They don't expire for a year, so if TLRY's still this low in a year, then maybe they'll execute. But geez, and wonder what AG is doing. I'll just pull up AG real quick. So AG also down 2.81%. Another one that I've got some put contracts sold on. I mean, those may end up being stocks that I get to hold, I guess, if those contracts execute in the money. TLRY, I sold the $10 put for 2 something, so I'm still green on it, right? I would still be making money if it did execute, even at this price, if it just stagnated for the next year, if it ended up here in a year from now. But I'm just continually surprised at how low these cannabis stocks get pushed. They just keep moving down and down, and especially with Sundial, it seems unjustifiably low. But Abstract says, I'm not worried about the pullbacks. Neither am I. I'm not too worried about them. I'm just surprised, how bold a lot of these shorts and a lot of these sellers are. I guess some people really are getting scared out of these cannabis stocks. So if there ever were a time to potentially be getting in more, I'd be looking at the next couple of days, the end of December when all these people are tax loss harvesting, the lower it goes. The lower it goes, the more likely I think people are to start selling towards the end of December, right? Because then they're looking at a bigger and bigger loss that they can claim on their taxes. And honestly, it would be nice to do that. For me, though, Sundial would have to get pretty darn low to become a loss, because I bought in at 19 cents per share right before the big pump up. You can't even see it on the yearly chart. But 2 years ago, I bought in at 19 cents per share around here, so I can't claim the loss on Sundial. Otherwise, I mean, if I was up big on it, or down big on it rather, then I would potentially like to claim a little bit of a loss on Sundial, but oh well. And Rico says, Rob, what are your top 2 favorite stocks? Tough to say. I think that obviously one of my favorites that I think is going to do the best during 2022 is probably Sundial. I really think this one could explode. So Sundial's certainly one of my favorites. If it's top 2, if I'm talking long term, I really like big tech stocks. I think that those have really good business models that have access to a lot of leverage, right? They can just make a program or code and then essentially sell it unlimited amounts of times, and it doesn't really cost them anything other than making it the first time. So really good business models with a bunch of leverage. They can get a lot of their work done with code instead of people too. So I think over the long term, the big tech companies, I mean, there's no real limit to how much people can spend on them. They're almost a way of protecting against inflation, if you think about it, because they can make these products that cost nothing after you make them the first time you make this code, and then people, if they get a ton of money, end up spending a bunch at these big tech companies. And, that's what they're doing with their money instead of spending them at the store buying physical products that do cost resources to mine and we have limited supplies of. So when you buy up, say toilet paper or, toothbrushes, anything at the store, even if it's just food like chips or anything like that, there's a limited supply of it. And the more you buy, the more they're going to have to raise the price if they start to run out. But with these tech stocks, like take Microsoft, for example, sure, they're selling some PCs and Xboxes and all that. That's some of what they do. But they also sell a lot of programs like Excel, PowerPoint, the Word. They've got some OneDrive. They have other games, right? Everything they're selling, like Xbox Live, all the games that they sell on Xbox, the Xbox exclusives, they're selling just digital content. And people can spend a lot of money on that and it doesn't cost them anything. They don't need to raise the price on it. They'll just charge $60 a pop, everybody who buys it. And that's not going to cause any inflation at all because people are spending all their money on this digital thing that there's no need to raise the price on. So, Microsoft is happy to sell 100,000 copies at $60 of Halo, whatever, or 10 million, and they're just going to keep the price the same because that's what people are willing to pay. There's no need to raise it. So some of these stocks are potentially protecting us from some of the inflation that we could be experiencing because that's where people are choosing to spend their money. Then the tech stocks get it, and they reinvest it into their company's growth. And potentially they have cash on the balance sheet, so the cash sits unspent. Or potentially they buy up other stocks with it, right? They make acquisitions, and that raises stock prices. So all in all, I really like the big tech stocks, right? You could print, trillions and trillions of dollars and give it to people, and if they're spending it on big tech stocks, everything still kind of functions as normal. And it seems like some of the most enjoyable things to spend on are technology. So I'm really bullish on big tech over the future. I really like Microsoft. I remember Microsoft was one of the first stocks that I bought years and years ago, even longer than that, way back when it was in the $60 price range. So I bought. Obviously I didn't have a ton of money back then to invest in it, but I bought a couple shares, and I've still got a couple shares of Microsoft. So I'm bullish on Microsoft. I really like Microsoft. They've got Microsoft Hololens, which, let me guys pull that up for you. If you guys haven't heard of Microsoft Hololens, then you need to look at it, because take a peek at this. We'll see what we can play. Microsoft is conducting an online survey. No. But here you go. Looks like they've really updated it since I last saw, but check this out. I mean, you just wear these little glasses, essentially. They're pretty darn small at this point. Last I saw it was years ago. And then these people are seeing all of these virtual things in the real world. So it's kind of, it's an augmented reality technology. It's mixing VR and AR. And I think these are one of the biggest innovations that we're going to see over the next say 5 or 10 years. I think that these are going to become incredibly popular, that you're going to need a lot less physical advertising space. You won't need billboards and stuff. People will just be able to plop it right in on the HoloLens, and you'll be able to see, that's one of the ways they'll monetize it, right? That's not why you'll use it. You won't use it because you want to see advertisements, but they'll probably do it. Maybe you could subscribe to their thing to get rid of ads or whatever, but they'll probably have some ads when you're using the HoloLens on billboards and whatnot. They'll just be able to make them blank. It'll cost a lot less manpower to have advertisements going. But also, I mean, you can just do a bunch of cool stuff, right? This could revolutionize schools. You might not need to go to schools. You might just sit in your room. And you'll see all the kids around you watching the teacher, just like Star Wars, how they have those little holograms that they use to communicate with each other. We could certainly somebody's almost definitely going to make a Star Wars communication app instead of Snapchat or whatever. Instead of having a video call with somebody, you'll have a little hologram like in Star Wars. It'll just be a fun thing, is my guess. And Kitchener Leslie does not like the idea of people wearing those in public. They'll probably get a little bit less obtrusive. It'll probably eventually become more of a glasses-like technology. They've already gotten pretty darn small, but the HoloLens certainly seems like a cool technology. So Microsoft is another one that I'm very bullish on. So Microsoft and Sundial are two big ones that I like, if that answered the question. And Money Lover says, are we in a market crash? I think there's an easy way to tell. So you look at SPY, and you can pull it out to the yearly chart, and then you look at how far down we've gone if we're technically in crash territory. So from the high, we hit lows that were need to pull that chart back a little bit. We hit lows that were about down almost 5%, so about 5%. So I think 5% is not really considered anything. I think 10% is correction, and 20% is a crash. So no, we're not in a crash yet. We haven't crashed yet. The markets are still moving down. Who's to say how much lower they will move? They could certainly go lower. Sundial is finding a way to go lower. It looks like they just bounced off 56 cents. So we'll see what happens with that. But Steve Pont says, what is that called? Microsoft HoloLens. So I'll pull it up again. Microsoft HoloLens. I think that's what you're talking about. They've been working on this for years. I remember years and years ago I watched a demonstration that they had at at a big show, and here it is, Microsoft HoloLens. So you can see right there, Microsoft HoloLens 2, it looks like. So cool stuff. I don't know, can we actually buy these? Yeah, so they're pretty darn expensive. But hey, $3,500 and you can get it. So cool stuff. And then for an extra almost $2,000, you get a hard hat integrated HoloLens 2, built for safety-controlled work site environments. Wow. And then an industrial design that's tested to support regulated environments such as clean rooms and hazardous locations. But I think the HoloLens 2, just the normal one, looks the best. I don't think it's quite at the point where it makes sense for regular retailers, retail consumers like us to get. But I think that over the next couple of years, they'll certainly start getting some games. Right now, the best thing you've got for VR, I think, not the best thing, but the most affordable thing is the Oculus Quest 2. And this is something by Facebook, which is a reason why they're changing their name to Meta. So let's see. Let's see if we can pull up the Oculus Quest 2. This is what, look at that Meta Quest. So here we go. The Quest 2, it's a VR headset. You put that on. I have one of these. And then you have these two little handhold things that you use to control your movement. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff in games. I have this game, I think, actually. I think somebody gave this game to me as part of a study. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I was part of a study for this game. I did not play it very much. It was not very fun, in my opinion, but but there you go. You can get it for pretty darn cheap. For $299, you get this headset. That's what I paid for it. So you can get this headset for $299. It comes with all this junk, like a charger and all that, and it's pretty cool. I will say it's pretty cool. It's not quite at the point where I want to use it regularly. It's been a couple weeks since I've used it. When I first got it, it was fun to play with, but that's another one. So potentially Facebook, or Meta as they're called now, could be doing good in 2022, especially as they really start transitioning into more metaverse content, right? Once again, that digital content, I think, could be really good for, potentially stalling or getting rid of inflation. I think if people just spend their money on digital content, that could be a direction that we have to consider we might go in. And, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? As long as you're enjoying yourself, probably not the best thing, though, to always be plugged in. Not going to be good for your body. Not going to be good for your body. But Facebook is dropping a bit towards the end of the year. It could be a decent buying opportunity. Let's see what the Facebook options look like. So you could sell some $200 puts, and right now Facebook is at $300. That's for 2023, though. That's out a ways. You could potentially sell some. If you don't think Facebook's falling that much more, then you could sell some puts in Facebook, maybe at $290, get it for $280 after you collect the premium on these $290 puts. But yeah, there's some opportunities in Facebook options. It looks like, since it's been falling so much, it looks like the options are priced pretty expensively. So not bad, especially considering the fact that it was at $353 just a couple of weeks ago, and at highs of $384. So they are certainly off the highs. They're off the highs by quite a bit. Obviously, Facebook is probably not going. Facebook, not the stock, but the platform. I just don't see it doing that well in the far out future. I think, at least in the U.S., a lot of people are starting to leave Facebook. There aren't too many younger people in Facebook. And Buddy B says, I just bought Facebook Meta at $318, only $2, but it's something. I hope I did this thing right. Yeah, I think that'll be a good buy over the long term. I think that Facebook, especially as they change their name to Meta even more once the ticker symbol changes, I think that we'll be doing pretty good with Facebook stock, I expect. I've got some Facebook as well. Marie G, bye. We'll see you. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday. And Robert Kuntz says, is there a way to flag events with Sundial, such as when they decide to buy portions of the floating shares buyback? Do you think they'll publicize their? I think they've gotta publicize their buyback, since they are the company, right? Otherwise, it would be too easy for insider trading to occur. I think if they could just secretly do it, we'll know about the buybacks. I don't know if we'll know about them beforehand. I believe we will. Although we might not actually. We may find out about them after the fact, but not long after the fact. So I'll do my best to keep you guys updated on the Sundial share buybacks when those actually start occurring. So we'll see. But yeah, Facebook's getting pretty darn cheap. So I gotta say, I do like the big tech stocks, even though they oftentimes aren't the most potentially ethical companies. They certainly seem to benefit from people getting addicted to these platforms and whatnot. I do think that there's the potential to use them in good ways, and you can definitely make a lot of money off of them. I mean, if you look at the max week chart for Facebook right here, it's just been shooting up over the past years. Every now and then you see a decent downturn. When the pandemic began, we saw that, as well as towards the end of 2018, we saw that for a while. And it looks like we're experiencing another one right now. So, Facebook is a potential trade that I'm looking at. So, let's see. Cool, good to hear. I also bought Meta ETF also. Oh, Meta. I think I've heard of that. Meta ETF. So let me find the Meta ETF, because I forget exactly what the ticker symbol was. So, so is it literally the one which has the ticker symbol Meta? Metaverse ETF, yeah. So it's been getting hit over the past couple of weeks, but overall has gone up. So let's see. Yeah, it's been getting hit pretty hard. It's getting hit hard today towards the end of the year. There was definitely a lot of hype around these stocks when Facebook announced that they were changing their name to Meta. You saw that the stocks really started shooting up. I think it was around then that they did that. But now they're taking their hit at the end of the year. Some people are selling for profits. They may have been potentially valued a little bit too high too soon. But I think that over the long term, they'll be doing really well. I think that the metaverse is probably a huge industry with a lot of cash moving through it. So we'll see how people react to it. If people really start spending a ton of money on the metaverse, which I think is very possible, and I think it would be very easy to monetize things in the metaverse. I think people would be very willing to spend a large chunk of their income on the virtual world. Then we could definitely see some good stuff. And Silver says Square changing name to Block. I think that's a play off words with blockchain. So cool stuff. I mean, Square almost seems like a better name. It seems like, I don't know why, it just seems like a more memorable name. But Block, I suppose, is fine. It's a more all-encompassing thing. If you think about the shapes, the square is just the 2D image, and Block is more 3D. So I'm sure there's some meaning behind it. But all in all, I like the name Square a little bit more. So we'll see if that's a good thing for them. I know they've been falling lately, so SQ, I think, is the ticker symbol. Yeah, they've been getting crushed. It looks like they were moving down too when Jack Dorsey was leaving Twitter. People were not excited for him to spend all of his time ruining Square, I think. No, I'm just messing around. I like Jack Dorsey a decent bit. I've listened to him on Joe Rogan, and I think he seems like a decent guy. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Square, though. Or Block, I should say. I guess they haven't quite changed the name on TD Ameritrade. It still says Square right here. And Silver says, fitting for Blockhead Dorsey. I know, yeah, a lot of people don't like him, but, I listened to him talk for a couple of hours on Joe Rogan, so he seems to have maybe his heart in the right place, and he's just not doing the right things. Maybe, obviously, he's running, or was running, one of the biggest companies in the world, so maybe some of the power got to his head. Who knows? And Rico, any update on Mj Legalization? I believe the last update... Let's see if there is anything. Okay. So let's look at this. So actually, as of 47 minutes ago, we've got this news that Missouri GOP lawmaker files joint resolution to put marijuana legalization on the ballot as activists launch separate campaign. So cool stuff. So the GOP, Republicans in Missouri, are trying to push marijuana legalization. So, I mean, there you go. More and more states are doing it. I know Kentucky is looking good for legalization next year. We've got Missouri now potentially doing it as well. It looks like Republicans are really pushing for legalization. So we'll see. I mean, it can't be a bad thing for Sundial, right? The more states that do it, the more likely I think we are to see federal legalization. So overall, yeah, good legalization news today. So thanks for checking on that, Rico. I'm glad I looked it up. But yeah, good stuff for legalization. So Buddy P says, still holding PROG, hoping it pops soon. It has been following a very similar pattern, over the past while, which it did just break. So let's pull up the 90-day chart. They've been following this pattern of pumping up and then consolidating at lower prices, but higher than their last consolidation. Then they pump up again, new highs, consolidation, pump up to new highs, consolidation, pump up to new highs, consolidation. And then this most recent time they pumped up, not quite to new highs. They didn't quite beat out the highs of last time. And then they, if they are going to consolidate, it's going to be lower, it looks. At least they'll have dipped down to lower than their most recent consolidation. So they are below 3. They're down 7% on the day. It's understandable. A lot of people are potentially selling stocks that they've lost money on. So towards the end of the year to collect a tax loss on them. And, some people were surely buying PROG above $5. Some people were buying it above 4. And it stands to reason that when it's at 3, they're going to want to collect that 20 or 25% loss. So we'll see. And I hold BB. Is that BlackBerry? But also taking a beating. I'm still hodling. Yeah, I think the whole markets. I mean, we can see the markets are taking a beating. Look at QQQ down 1.2%. Let's take a peek at SQQQ and see where that is. So that's up to 672. Nice. All right. So it's getting pretty darn high. And SPXU, let's see where that is. So it's also up quite a bit. So those are doing decently. We'll see what goes on with them throughout the course of the day. If we get to, I think we are at new highs. No, we're not at new highs. Not regarding yesterday's pre-market. Or the day before that, their aftermarket, actually. It looks like we were a little bit lower. We'll see if this market crash really continues on SPY. We're at 455 right now. And the lowest we've gotten is 449.50. So we're not that far off. So basically, another $5 or $6 drop actually would put us at new lows. So if we drop by another $6, then we're at new lows on SPY. It's very possible that will happen. If not today, then potentially on Monday. Maybe over the weekend, though, people will look at this as a buy the dip opportunity, potentially. A lot of them may have sold some of their stocks, and they might want to get into other stocks that will raise the price, right? Because with tax loss harvesting, you have to keep in mind the wash sale rules. So when you're selling stocks for a loss, you can't buy them back within 30 days. Otherwise, it doesn't count. Because the government doesn't want you just selling the stock that's down and then buying it back the next minute. Otherwise, you would always do that with stocks, right? Whenever a stock was down big, you'd sell it for a big fat loss and then buy it back and have that loss to write off other gains on your tax return. So they make you wait at least 30 days to buy back the stock if you want to claim the loss on your taxes. So while people may not be buying back the exact same stock, since the SPY is tracking 500 companies, they could buy back into other stocks that are similar to the original company, right? Like if they were dropping Facebook, then maybe they would buy into Twitter a couple days later because it's a social media company. And then they could essentially be in for the same ride. If they think the stocks are going to rise next year, they'd be in for the ride, but they wouldn't be losing that tax loss benefit. So Buddy B says, thanks, Rob. You're awesome, bro. Becoming more and more of a fan. I appreciate it, man. I do my best. And Money Lover says, I'm worried about Sundial. Let's wake up Reddit children. I think that would be awesome if we could get the Redditors to wake up on Sundial. That would be incredible. It hasn't happened since we hit highs of, doesn't show it on the chart, but of $4.20, I think it was, at the highs. And we can probably pull that up somehow. I could probably do it here. So we'll add a time frame. So 1 year. So let's see. We got to go back 360 days by the hour. All right. Okay, there we go. So now I think we can change to 360 days, 1 hour, and we'll see that they were up to $4.87 at one point, above $4.20. So they didn't even cap out at 420. It was 487. that they hit on Sundial the last time Reddit was with them. So if Reddit comes back to them, especially now that they've improved their underlying business so much, right? They were not profitable at this point. Now they're profitable. They've got a ton of cash on the balance sheet. I think that Sundial could go to incredible heights, especially if legalization occurs. So 420 on 420 could be that might be a nice time for the government to legalize it. So that is a decent way into the year, right? It would give them a couple of months to iron out the details. And I'm with it. We need to push it hard. Let's go. I'm doing my best, guys. I'm making videos about it every day. So we'll see how high we can get Sundial. I'm not too worried about it over the long term. Obviously, none of us have enough money to meaningfully move Sundial's price. They've got a 2 billion outstanding shares. So, even if we're buying tens of thousands, it's going to take a lot more than that. But I think that once legalization occurs and we can really get a big crowd, potentially from Reddit, in on this, I think we could see really high heights, especially if they've done their share buyback at that point already, if they've lowered the float a little bit. And Silver says the world will be better with more CBD products. I agree. And that is the perfect way to end the stream at 10:30. I've got some stuff to do today. Tyler Mike says Sundial on the way. That's the perfect way for this to end. I think that, Sundial is on the way. I think that we're going to see good things with Sundial over the long term, maybe not the short term because the markets are crashing overall. Not crashing super hard, but they're down. They're down today. It's not looking good for the SPY or the tech stocks. So hopefully you guys aren't losing too much money, but I know pretty much everyone is. I know I'm down over this past week. It's been a very red week. It's understandable. So hopefully you don't let that get to you over the weekend. Don't mind it too much. I think that the markets are so volatile. In the next couple of months, we could all be way up on our money. So I'm not too worried about it right now. But hopefully you guys will have a good weekend, a good rest of your Friday. Hopefully there's not too much work to do over the weekend. I think the weekends are good for relaxing. But other than that, guys, I'll see you in the stream on Monday. Looking forward to it. Have a good one. Bye.